what you guys are going to learn about today is what is down here. What is all of this nonsense? All right. Let's make a new layer. Let's start drawing on top of our stuff. So, first one, most of you all are going to know about this, is the abs. And the abs are, of course, right here. Right? They run down like this. Right across the front. And that's the simple shape for them. As you know, there are things like six packs out there. What's that telling us? It tells us there's actually different sections to the abs, right? So instead of just a straight line, what you got is there's 1, 2, 3, and just kind of, it's more of like the human body actually has like an 8-pack. It's just we only refer to a 6-pack because of, I don't know, kind of arbitrary. Because right here is your belly button, right? So like there's your 6-pack. Boom, 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 right? And right here at the bottom is where the belly button is. And that's a good landmark for you. There's your abs, right? Of which there are kind of 8. But you know, there's like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this one down here is kind of like a 7, 8. Usually it's not super visible because there's a very common fat collection area here on most people. Right? Almost everyone has like a little bit of fat down here. It's just that's your little emergency store for the end of winter, right? You know, you've stored all your nuts. It's March. You're out of nuts. You're eating your little fat pouch here. Okay, that's your we got to make it through March pouch. It's like a little fanny pack of food that you carry around when we were all hunter-gatherers, right? So, there is your abs. We don't need this anymore, right? I believe the proper name is the rectus abdominis, but nobody with a sane outlook on reality calls it that. We call it the abs. Okay, that's your first major muscle. And then your other big one is your obliques, right? And so these ones go down the side. There are... most people aren't very... You won't really see this. There's actually like... I think there's 5 sections to the obliques. They connect under the serratus here, and then they run down like that, right? So they come down here to the top of the pelvis. The iliac crest is your landmark. And then you have, actually, right? They kind of do this. They have this sort of, right? That's your obliques. Now I'm pretty sure there's memory serves, there's 5 of them, but generally you only really see 2, and that's on very shredded individuals where you'll see a little bit of a delineation right here, right? So you might see something more like this on most people, right? There'd be like a 1 up here, and then this part down here, right? Because it kind of follows the rib cage. There's a little bit here, and then there's that. And these here, this is a landmark. This is not what it's called. Right? That's where it ends. But this is actually your obliques. And they have a big, stupid, like, Latin... I think they're called the external obliques. That's the big, stupid Latin name, but we're going to call them just the obliques. And that's it. Congratulations. That is the muscles of the torso. That's it. See that? There's just a rib cage. There's a hip. There's abs. There's obliques. Done. Everyone go home. If only it were so simple, right? It's not. Because... God's just kind of fun that way. So you remember your serratus comes in. These are your connectors, right? Right, bam, bam. So let's give you some cues. Make a little more sense of this. Because right here, these are our muscles. That's it. We've done the muscles. Okay? We got the bones. It's all there. Do a couple landmarks for you so you can kind of like put these together in the right spot. Get rid of this. We don't need this. Blah, 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 blah. Blah. So. Landmark 1. Your belly button. Oop. It's in the middle, give or take. Let's put it in between ribs. And so that should be the bottom of the ribs. The bottom of the ribs. And the top of hips. Okay? I'll even label these for you. So your bottom of your ribs is like right here, right? That's A. And then we'll use purple, and then B here, right? Is your iliac crest, right? So your belly button, you can see it. Boom, 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 boom. It's in between A and B, right? Your bottom of the rib cage, top of the hips. That's where she sits. And let's make that a little lighter. Let's use brown. Now we have another landmark here for you. See this rib cage line? It goes between the top two halves of the six-pack and then 3, 4, 5, 6, right? So you have this rib cage line. We'll call it the rib cage. The ribs intersect the abs. Right? Does that make sense? Everyone's following along so far. We like our little tips and tricks. They're like, oh, okay, that makes... Okay, I got it. We're getting some, like... Some light bulbs. I always want to hear about the light bulbs. Satsu loves light bulbs. Good. And then I would say you have 2 more tippy trickies. Right? Right here is your... Right here is your... We're gonna make it through March fat pouch, or the... I don't know. We're gonna... What's let's call it the fatty fanny pack, right? Almost everyone's got these, except people who just have too much willpower, or just, I don't know, so insecure they're scared of cake, right? But what's life without some cake sometimes? I'd rather just have the 4-pack and a little bit of, you know, my little fatty fanny pack there. Who cares? No one cares. Nobody actually cares. And then the last thing you want to keep in mind for your little sort of your pro tips, so to speak, is that when the body bends over, like if you're going to touch your toes or sit or something, you tend to bend here in between this area, right? This is your kind of out of space. This is kind of your like bend point, we're gonna call it. You'll see in a sec what I mean. Right? So with all this in mind, these are kind of your muscles over here on this side, right? Not kind of. These are your muscles, right? And over here is your sort of landmarks. So this is landmarks. Let's not do this in the same color. Right. So here's your landmarks, your tips, your tricks. Over here are your muscles. Now, with that in mind, let's look at some geometry for how you can put this thing together. So I'm going to just smush these. Do that here. Boom, boom, boom. Put these over to the side. Get rid of all this stuff. We don't need this. I'm going to leave these here so you can see what happens next, because it's going to be so cool. You're going to be like, wow. Wow, I wish I knew that. And you'll be like, well, now I do know that. Okay. So actually, I'm going to take this. Make it big to show you your big hold on. I'm a big boy. I went to university. Your geometric locations. So when you're plotting this out, how you can think about it as big pieces. Right? I'm going to trace over top what we got here. As I mentioned, you have your top section. Right? This is essentially your girdle. This is section A. Right? With the pecs and the shoulders. Make sure A is nice and clear. Your next section, I would call section B, is the rib cage. Right? This is section B. Left the rib cage. Or just ribs. Right? This is your girdle. Call it the shoulder girdle. Or, you know, we can just call it your chest. That's cool too, right? Everyone sounds cooler. Then we have this section here. And this one kind of does that, right? Remember I said it kind of breaks? This is sort of your, like... Do these different colors. Call this C. Call it the, like... I don't know, the upper belly. Let's do gold. This one kind of has that, remember that little poochie there? This is your lower belly. And then moving on with the rest of the body, we have, like, you know, legs and butt and stuff. Here, right? Any questions? These are all the big pieces. With this in mind, we can go and look at some actual drawings, and hopefully they'll start to kind of click into place as you see it. I'm going to use actually the same references from the shoulder lectures. You can see how the muscles kind of keep going down the body. Everyone follow along? No one's confused yet? Awesome, 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 awesome. So, beautiful. Okay, cool. Cool. With that, oh, let me do a little aside here. Something to think of when you're drawing your abs. Just a little mental trick. So as far as your mental trick for your abs, you can think of them from the side like this, right? Like they from the side, right? It's I'll show you. This is what we're gonna get into next. Oops. Oh, I'm just starting to fart around here. Right. So this here is your belly button, right here. This is from the side. And there's kind of this sort of, this is the ribcage section up here. We'll use the same colors, like this is the ribcage, right? And then you have your upper belly area, right? This is your, like your C. Here's your B. Here's that little poochie pouch, right? And there's your D. This goes down to your groin, your area. Yeah, and like here's your iliac. Boom, boom, boom. This is the side view. Okay, cool. Okay, that's the lesson. Thanks for watching. If you want some more free short lessons, feel free to snoop around my channel, but if you want the rest of this lecture, more on the topic and more on every lecture, as well as access to an art teacher and taking part in the live lectures weekly, where you can ask questions and get feedback on your work, you should check out my online art school, The Art Forge. Links below if you want to learn more. If not, that's cool too. Thanks again. Versatsu out. Peace.